Okay, today I would like to start on Lab 8, and we are going to be covering image replacement and typography, and we are going to do one web page for this assignment. The most difficult part is image replacement. It's a thing that I don't use a lot, but it's becoming increasingly popular, and it's something that we probably should go over and you should learn. Image replacement is, I think they have a good example right here, is where in the HTML you have like a H1 or an H2 or H3, whatever, and you display that in your HTML, and then using CSS you replace that H1 with an image. And there's lots of ways to do this, and they have their advantages and disadvantages. I have this website right here, has 9 techniques for CSS image replacement. And, you know, if you look at web pages like this, you'll see that they have, pros and cons. And we're going to use a technique that's more like technique number 3 here. And I've got another page with the same type of thing, and I will show you that in a minute. So let's look at the lab. Okay, the lab is essentially this right here. We have a heading replacement, like a header replacement. We have some labels here in H2s that we're going to replace. We do have some text here, some P tags, some images, and we're just going to create one page. And this is the type of code that we will be using right here. There's a good example of this. We're not going to do exactly like this, but it's going to be somewhat like this. So what we'll do is, in this case right here in the HTML, they're using it as a hyperlink. So you click on it to go to another page, but we will not do that. And they're creating an ID and calling it specials, and then they're calling that specials in the CSS right here. And that's how they're affecting the look of it in the CSS by using the ID and calling it specials. And we could do it that way also. I guess we should get to it. Okay, I've started a new Liveweave document, and I also have the download file we can get all the text from. So I'm going to download that really quickly, and I'm going to select it all and copy all that text. If you didn't have this text, you could do it with any text if you wanted to, but we have the text that's available, and so let's use that. Okay, so the page, let me go back here and we'll take a look at the lab again. Okay, so what I'd like to do is maybe start by creating our tags, all our HTML for this. That's what we'll do. We'll start with the HTML and then come back with the CSS. We won't do it simultaneously. We'll do it one after the other. So I'm going to come here and I will just paste my text right in here. And so we can get started, and need to get rid of that, and we're not going to use JavaScript. So I will make this a little bit bigger, make this a little bit bigger too. Okay, so we've got all our text in here. Let's take another look at our lab. So this right here is going to be an H1. So this will make this an H1, and these are H2s. So we can do that right now. This here will be in H1, and we'll close that tag. So we've got an H1 there. Okay. World, I believe they said that was an H3, H2. It's an H2. Close that up. Okay, H2 there. Now we probably could do each of our H2s right here really quickly, because I know local is going to be an H2. And sports is going to be an H2. Oh, maybe be faster just to do it this way. Let's see what else we have. Okay, let's take a look at our lab really quickly. So world, local, and maybe that's it. Let's see what images we have. World, sports, world, and local. I think we got all those. Okay, world, sports, and local. So we've got all those. We got our H in there. Now we can go ahead and get our images there. So we need this image next. Also, we need an horizontal rule under here. So let's do that and then put our image in. So let's get our horizontal rule in. Let's scroll back up here. And then we will put a HR in and get that in there. And then we need that image, and that image goes right below world. So let's do that. So image src equals, and then we need the location of that image. So I believe it's on my page. I'm going to right click and copy image address, go back here and put that right in there. And then let's close that tag. Okay, so we got that image in there. And let's take a look again. Okay, this looks like it is this headline here is 18 point. And we want the letter spacing of -1 pixel. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. For now, let's just make this an H2. And we will get that a little bit later. Do we have any more headlines that we have to do? Let's take a look. Okay. I think we have it. Let's go take a look at our text again and make sure we got everything. Okay, so it looks like this is a headline and this is a headline also. So let's go back and do those. There's a headline there. We'll just make that an H2 for now. And we'll go back later and fix that. Okay, and then we've got this right here. Okay, so we got that under control. Let's get our images in there. So the images would be right after local. So we need an image in there. What image do we need? We need this sports image. Let's see. Is it sports? No, it's just local. Okay, so we need this one right here. Copy image address. And let's paste that in there. And then we will close that. Okay, so we've got that image in there. And then let's put the image in here for under sports. Go back and get that image. Right click on that and copy image address. and go back and paste that in there and close that. Okay, so we have our basics set up anyway, the basic of the HTML set up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use image replacement for this, for the world, for the local, and for the sports. So we're going to replace the image several times. And so let's do this online news network. Let's do that first. So let's take a look back at our technique for doing it. So we could take a look at this one right here, technique 3. And in here, what they did was they did an H1 and then they made it a class. And I think we'll probably just use an ID instead of a class here. I don't think we're going to repeat this. So I don't know that we need to do that. And we can do it just like that. Now we can also do it just like I have on my lab here. We had this image replacement technique right here, the same way here. We could do this about the same way, except for making a link. So let's just do it like this. So what I like to do is just make it just like this one right here, except for we're not going to do an A tag. Okay, so instead of an A tag, it's going to be an H1. So we'll do H1, and then we'll go ID equals, and then we'll name whatever the image is going to be. And then we could probably put this label on here, but it's not really that important. And now we'll just go, let's just do this. Let's do an H1 and then an ID and close it. Okay, so let's do that one. Okay, so let's go back up here. So we're going to go H1 ID equals head and H1 ID equals head. Oops, we got to change this. Okay. That's what we wanted right there. Okay, so we're going to use the ID head in the CSS to affect this and change the image. So let's do the same thing for the world. So we're going to do ID equals world, and we just need to change this right here. Okay, so we're going to use the ID world, and let's go down and do the local. Oops, we want to do, gotta delete some things. Okay, I think that's right. And then we have to do the same thing for sports. Okay. Okay, now so what we want to do now is we want to do the CSS for this image replacement. So we're going to go back and start the CSS, and we'll do this one right here. I can go back to this easy CSS replacement, and I can copy this, and instead of retyping it, Let's copy it. We're going to have to change it. Okay, and obviously it's not going to be specials because our first CSS replacement is head. So we want to go head. Okay, and let's look up here and see what it's done. Okay, obviously that's gone, so we need to change that. And then we want to go the image replacement URL. So we will do copy image address, and then I believe we could just put that right in here, but let's see what happens. Okay, the size obviously is wrong, so let's change that size right there. Let's say 250. Nope, bigger than that. Maybe a little bit bigger. Oh, so here's what's going to happen. This is going to repeat. This image is going to repeat if we don't cut it off. We can do it that way to keep it from repeating. Or we could put no repeat on here, and that would be okay also. So you'll see what happened is it indented the text that's there so you can't see it, and then it replaced it with this image right there. And that's what we did. That's all we did. So now we have to do the same thing for world, local, and sports. The same exact thing. We've got our images here, and you can replace those. Okay, let's take a look at our lab and see what we got to do here. I better bring this lab up again. Let me bring that up. And let me click on the lab really quickly. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to make this right here, these headlines, we need to make them Georgia 18 point with a letter spacing of -1 pixel. Okay, that means it must mean that these are squeezed together. So let's figure out how to do that. So that's just for the headlines. Okay, so let's go back here and take a look at these headlines. That's just for these headlines right here. So let's figure out how we can do that. Let's see. Where are we at? There we are right there. So we have this in H2 right now. And one way we could do this is we could make this an ID, and we could change this inline here. And that might be the easiest way to do it. Or we can go ahead and down here in our CSS, we can just do an H2, and we can change the font family, and we can do it that way. Okay, and we need the font size. Okay. Spacing, -1 px. Okay, so you see that kind of squeezed it together. So your assignment is to finish this by replacing the local, the sports, and the world images using image replacement, and changing this H2. Well, it looks like I've changed it for all of it, so you're okay with the H2 because I've done this will affect all the H2, so you're fine with that. So do the image replacement for each of these, and save it, and that's what you'll turn in. Okay. Good luck with that. I will see you next time.